And we are live. What's up, people? Matthew Bellman, Ryan Kostrowski here. This is the DFS 5-pack. Baseball season kicks off in, I believe, 17 days. Is that right?
Yeah, sounds right to me, and I'm excited.
Needless to say, yes, our boy Bellman over here. I love baseball, but like you have almost like a creepy like obsession with it, which I can understand though, because I love baseball. So I'm with you. I'm excited for the season to start. What we're going to do today is we're going to do a mock draft. And again, I'm still really just starting to dive into fantasy baseball research myself. I know you've probably done a little bit more than I have because you itch for this for months ahead of where I am. The point of this, though, is just to kind of talk it through. It's a mock draft on ESPN. We'll probably get into a whole bunch of people auto drafting. We just want an opportunity to talk baseball. And I don't know, for you, I also want to kind of get my flow going.
Yeah, same all the way around. I mean, I love this stuff. Excited to hop in. Things have changed since we did the last draft, and I'm excited to just at least talk this over.
Yeah, again, we're going to talk it through, and we're not going to obsess about the fact that it's a head-to-head points because it's a mock draft. This thing will disappear and not even be existing in a little while. Before we get into it, guys, since we're on here, though, we might as well bring up Overlay Fantasy Sports. We talk about this on our videos. It's one of our show sponsors. Awesome over there. If you like the NBA as well, they got this mass $17 jackpot rolling. I got their Twitter profile link below. I'll share this and stuff like that, but go to their Twitter profile and you can find it. It's overlaydfs.com. It's awesome. Go try to win some money.
Stop telling people, man.
And if you're interested, my boy Matt over here had himself about three $50,000 wins last year playing MLB. Big about the MLB being contrarian. And if you go to our website, we got multiple. Oh, man. I've been saying I'm going to change this for 2 weeks, but it's still up there right now. Only $69 for the MLB only sale. I'm trying to get that changed by the end of the day. We sell passes to all the different things that we do. Annual gets you all three sports, baseball, basketball, football. Lifetime is all three sports permanently, no future payments, otherwise monthly customers. We do a write-up every single day, and we cover both slates on Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays for the day slates.
Yeah. Can't beat it, man. So excited for baseball to come up. Really excited for this draft. This is like some of my favorite times that we do. So I'm pumped.
What are your thoughts on the Yankees already being bombarded with injuries again?
I mean, I was reading someone say, like, man, like saying something to the effect of like Aaron Judge is becoming almost like a what if. Like, I don't get it. Do you?
That statement or what's happening to the Yankees, how unlucky they've been?
Both.
I mean, if we look at Aaron Judge, I'll try to do some pressing around. I mean, what is he, 25, 26 years old? 27. So he played 155 games in the big year where he hit the 52 home runs, and then he missed 50 the next year and 60 last year. So, I mean, if this year's another one, then yeah, it's hard not to kind of label him with that just a little bit. And things can change, but 3 straight years, if he's missing all those games again, it's not a good look.
It's not a good look at all. What's up with Stanton?
Does he still play? I don't know. That's why I was kind of relying on you for how injured Giancarlo Stanton. I know he's out for at least the early portion of the year.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like that's such is the norm with him, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. They're still deep as hell. They got Garrett Cole now leading the staff. I don't feel bad for them. I'll tell you that.
Yankees get encouraging Stanton injury news. That's 16 hours ago. Let's check this bad boy out since we're killing some time early on. Because the Yankees are a team you need to be kind of really paying attention to because their offense, even with these injuries, is going to go off again this year.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
you got the number 1 pick this time.
Yep. Played only 18 regular season games. Suffered a grade 1 strain of his calf.
Interesting.
Man. Calf injuries are scary to me, too. Those soft tissue injuries flare back up. Like, you think he's fine, he runs out one ground ball, and then he's out.
especially in a year-long league, right?
Yes. Daily, what we talk about more, it's not nearly the same concern because it's just one day. But in a year long, I mean, that's enough to whew, really want me to put him there. Coming off of the extended injuries he's had. He's always been injured in his career, too, with the exception of the one MVP year.
Always. So you're not going to take him over Trout here?
No, I'm not. I get the arguments for Acuna and Christian Yelich, but how do you just not just pick Trout number one? I've seen him not number one on a few places, but that just seems blasphemous to me.
Agreed.
So I will start with Mike Trout. He does it every year. I mean, it's just one of the safest plays in sports or fantasy sports.
Yeah, it can't beat it.
Now, again, we agree. Betts beat him 2 years ago. Yelich was on pace to knock him out last year. Acuna is the up-and-coming stud, but there's nothing safer than Mike Trout.
It's not that you expect Mike Trout to be number one overall. It's that you're damn sure he's going to be in the top 5, right?
I mean, every single year. He's arguably the greatest baseball player not named Barry Bonds in my lifetime.
2 pitchers went in this draft, and for points leagues, it does change. That's it. That is early, though.
It is early, but you play head-to-head points leagues more than I do, and locking in a good starting pitcher is not as crazy as it would be, say, if this was a roto league.
It's not, but I'm not taking either of those guys over Yelich or Acuna.
No, me neither. You know my feelings. I feel pretty confident. Part of this is that we do this stuff all the time, but I feel pretty good about my ability to be able to stream pitching. You can't stream hitting the same way. You're almost never getting a Francisco Lindor on the waiver wire throughout the season.
For sure. For me, I'm obviously looking at Arenado here. We talked about this the last draft, but there are red flags around Arenado. His team sucks.
They're going to win the championship this year, man. I don't know what you're talking about.
No.
No? Yeah, you're probably right.
Mookie went.
I don't love Mookie.
Oh, wow. Arenado went right before me. I thought I was on the clock. Damn, it's awful.
I mean, how do you not just lock in your boy Lindor right here?
Yeah, I thought to do that.
Plus, when you can knock out that shortstop position right away and just have that stud right there, it's so nice.
It's so nice.
You can always pick up first baseman and outfielder throughout the season, but when you lose a shortstop to injury to the middle of the year, and then you go check the waiver wire, and the best thing that you have available to you is Zach Cozart, it just hurts.
Yeah, and no lie, in a league like this where you have to fill a second base shortstop, I'm thinking about Turner with my next pick.
I get it. I do that all the time.
I also like Story a lot, though. So,
what are your thoughts on Bregman this year? I'm really flustered on what to do with a lot of the Houston guys.
Same. I think that they almost have their values increasing because no one wants to touch them. What do you think?
I mean, it only takes one guy in each draft to go after him, but I wouldn't reach for him. I'll tell you that much.
No, it's definitely not a reach right now, though. I'll tell you that.
Plus, they're all going to be injured by the end of the year because they're all going to get hit by so many pitches.
This is true. I will say I don't the guy before me took 2 pitchers. I was definitely thinking about DeGrom there because there is after DeGrom, I think it's a pretty big drop. Or after the 5th guy, don't you?
No, I agree with you. I also love watching people in these mock drafts talk about fantasy sports because, we live in the DFS world where we do nothing but talk to extremely hardcore fantasy sports players. And then when you see guys in a free draft, this might be the only one that they do. Just the knowledge level is so different.
Mm-hmm.
And talking to most of you guys that are listening to this, most of you guys, you're out watching YouTube videos on fantasy baseball. Clearly, you're probably into the shit.
Yeah, if you're watching a mock draft on, if you're watching a mock draft on video, you're into it. Sorry.
Yep. No doubt about it. This guy at the side right here, you would pick Max over DeGrom. Max Scherzer's been arguably the best starting pitcher in baseball the last decade. He's bulletproof. I get it if you like DeGrom better, but you're not insane for going Max Scherzer.
Of course not. Who are you looking at coming up?
Man, if I was going right now and I could go with anybody, I like the Trevor Story call. Freddie Freeman is a model of consistency, but I usually like to wait on first base. I do not love JD Martinez. Bryce Harper stinks.
Why don't you love JD Martinez?
I don't know. No Mookie Betts. I have a feeling that offense might just be not quite as potent as it has been.
Well, probably. Well, that's not a feeling. They lost Mookie Betts, so like.
Yeah. So I mean, the runs and the RBIs, the peripherals are going to be a little harder to come by.
I don't disagree. He'll probably get pitched differently as well. I will say though, I'm a fan of Verdugo, who they got in that deal. You know, I think for the Red Sox, a big X factor for me is Benintendi. They're going to need him to be real good. You know,
he needs to be 2 years ago, not last year.
Yeah, he needs to be real good because they're going to have to replace some of Mookie with someone.
All right. So with me coming up, I feel like it's funny because we talked about this a lot last year. I'm going to stack Trout with Rendon probably. He just seems to me about as safe as anybody on this list. I hate that he doesn't steal bases, but he's going to bat 300, score 100 runs, drive 100 RBIs, hit 30 homers, and he's going to be surrounded with a really good offense and also a really good offense with lackluster pitching that's going to have to score a lot of runs.
I agree with all of them. All three of these third basemen here are intriguing, not going to lie.
Yeah, I mean, I like the upside of Ramirez because your boy can run the bases, and Rendon is just not going to offer me that.
True.
And then because we talked about shortstop, and I like his upside, and I like the Cubs to have a nice season here potentially, Javier Baez, and I'm a fan. And ESPN by the end of the year will probably give him like 12 position eligibility.
That's true.
You can play Javier Baez at quarterback by season's end.
Yeah. All right, so Altuve went. Not another team. A team I'd like be worried about guys like is Tampa. Not necessarily worried about it, but they seem to have like so many guys they'll rotate through. They only have a couple guys that will get playing time on an everyday basis, namely Austin Meadows. I'm not even sure who else.
Yes, they do this. So thoughts on Jack Flaherty this year, his tale of two halves last season. Are you second half Jack Flaherty or first half Jack Flaherty?
Yes. So yeah, I think it's a little bit of both, right? Like I think he's better than that I think it's closer to the second half, but he's not going to be that good forever. I struggle to take him here as like the ace of my staff over one of these hitters. After losing out on the DeGrom, I'm not going to, push for a pitcher. How about you?
I like him, but again, it's a smaller sample size. Would you take him or Shane Bieber?
Him, because I like it's tough, but by default, I'll go with the NL guy.
Okay. Young man, too, 23 years old, fourth in the Cy Young last year, fifth in Rookie of the Year before. Definitely got better and better as the season progressed. He's also a big strikeout guy, 231 strikeouts in 196 innings. Bieber strikes guys out too. I feel pretty comfortable with Jack Flaherty. Over the last two seasons, he has an ERA of about 3 between the 2 years, lots of Ks. And I also really trust the Cardinals organization to get the best out of their players.
So I agree. I would take Flaherty as well. He's like a round better than him, in my opinion.
Okay. And that's fair. Again, it could work out any which way. I just wanted to get your thoughts because we're both Flaherty guys.
And he just went.
I feel like you were a Flaherty guy in the first half, and you were getting upset because he wasn't pitching that well. And then I started riding the hot streak. And then by year's end, we were both massive Flaherty guys. So we had our little ups and downs, but we came to the same conclusion by the end of the season.
Mm-hmm. This is interesting here because there's no one, and I'm on the clock, there's no one that like you think like, oh, I need him. You know what I mean?
Right, but I'm a big fan of your boy J-Ram right here with the 30th pick.
Same.
Huge upside. I mean, if he can play anything like the guy from 2 years ago or the guy who really kind of got it going down the stretch run last year, he was so much better.
Mm-hmm. And then after that, I am thinking about a pitcher here. Especially because where we're drafting, like it's so many picks between our picks, So there's a guy I definitely have circled. It's Blake Snell.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Fernando Tatis just went, and that's a guy that I'd love to get on my team this year.
You love Tatis?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a big believer in his talent on a team that I mean, San Diego is going to be all right.
They're going to be good. They have talent, man. I love the addition of Tommy Pham for them. Like, I think that's a big time addition for them. They got a good lineup.
They do. Hosmer, Profar, Machado, Tatis, Pham, Grisham, Will Myers. Imagine if Will Myers stayed healthy for a year.
Mm-hmm. They also have like real good prospects too. So,
I mean, there's guys up and coming. Definitely, this is a team that can play.
yeah, like all of a sudden, I like what they got going a lot more than like Colorado, which is if you said that a year ago, you'd have been crazy.
Mm-hmm. I mean, San Diego's been such a black hole for most of my life. I like actually the idea of them being good because it's kind of like if the Detroit Lions are good. Like it's almost like you just have to be like, all right, I'm happy for you guys.
Do you view like the Browns like that?
Yes, very much so, and even more so than the Lions because the Lions are in my Packers division.
But the Padres like made the World Series like when they had Tony Gwynn.
You know that statistically you should make it like every 15 years. So the fact they did it once in my 40 years is not something that I feel like we don't owe them another one.
I get that. Man, a lot of teams would argue with those statistics, though.
Like the Browns.
Yeah. Yep.
But hey, man, I'm a Brewers fan. We've never been to the World Series in my life. Well, I take it back. In my time period of being able to actually watch and understand baseball.
Well, I have a question for you in regards to this draft because I took him over the other guy. But why do we like Snell over Morton?
Upside.
That's all, though, because I feel safer with Morton. But this is like Morton. Okay, I'll put it like this. This is about as high as Morton can get, and this is about as low as Snell can get. Like, I think Snell has much higher upside, don't you?
Yes, I do. All right, I'm going to take Austin Meadows. And again, this is a guy who always falls in every draft because ESPN always ranks him too high. Starling Marte. But I could see him with some nice upside in Arizona this year.
Yeah, I love him this year. I thought about him over Snell.
And now, from more of a strategic standpoint, that I have Trout, Meadows, and Marte, unless somebody I love falls to me, I'm pretty much going to ignore outfield for a while.
For sure.
I just feel like I need a baseline of 3 good outfielders and then let what comes to me come to me for the rest of the draft. What are your thoughts on Machado this year? As part of what you've been talking about San Diego, like bad year last year.
I mean, what's not to like?
I don't know. You watched him last year.
I don't know. You're right. And baseball is a lot of like name, especially in the draft, because the things change year to year. I expect Machado to have a good year this year. It's just a more of a gut feel than anything. He looks like he's in shape, which I think is big for him. Now a year into the National League, baseball is different than other sports, though, where like guys' years are dramatically different from other years. A lot of guys. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Every single year, LeBron James,
yes,
what he's going to do for the end of the year. And that stuff will regulate. Baseball's more up and down because you get little nagging injuries you got to play through. And your mental fortitude goes away when you get into a rough patch.
Like we've talked about it a lot, man. A lot of baseball is luck and getting calls and whatever it is. You know what I mean?
For sure. And in baseball, you can go from batting 300 to 260 in 1 year, and a lot of that's bad luck. Doesn't mean it's all bad luck, but it gets into your mind, and some people just aren't as headstrong. There aren't a lot of people with Mike Trout type of consistency. He is an odd bunch or an odd player.
It's not that it's a lot of luck. It's just more than the other sports. There's a lot more like risk, like chance and play. So it's, and that goes into harder, just what it is. It's just harder to project than the other sports. And that's why I like it, because it's just more of a gut feel type thing.
You take a look at a guy like a Paul Goldschmidt, which if you rewind just a couple of seasons ago, I mean, this guy was stealing bases, batting close to 300. Last year he batted 260. He was able to get it up to 218, but that was after a rough start. The power is still there, but the peripherals with the RBIs are just not there consistently. He hasn't scored 100 runs back-to-back years. But, yep, there he is up there projected to go in the 5th round, and he plays in a pitcher's ballpark. I feel like he's more named than some other guys.
Yeah, agreed.
And he's at that age, too. He's 31. He's probably not getting better. If anything, he's probably getting worse.
Agreed.
You know, a guy like Josh Bell.
I'm taking Clevenger here.
Solid play.
I'm a fan. I think he's the leader of the staff this year. I think he's got higher upside than Bieber, don't you?
Yeah, probably. Clevenger's amazing.
I just think he's a bit better of a strikeout guy. That's why the Indians, the AL Central, all of a sudden, I think is real competitive besides Detroit, obviously, and Kansas City. But between the Indians, White Sox, who I think are going to be good, they're my sleeper to win that division in Minnesota. It's all of a sudden a decent division.
Well, we just talked about name recognition. Honestly, what about the last couple of seasons? If you took their names away from it, would make you want to pick Clayton Kershaw above ahead of Mike Clevenger?
Nothing.
Right? Because over the last 3 years, Mike Clevenger, ERA 3.11, 3.02, 2.71, 121 innings pitched, 137 strikeouts, 200 innings pitched, 207, 126 innings pitched, 169 strikeouts last year. So then you go look at a guy like Clayton Kershaw, who is one of the greatest pitchers I've ever had the ability to watch. But, I guess his 2017 was pretty good. So maybe I shouldn't include that 3rd season in there. His strikeouts have been not quite the same. And he's 31 with a lot of tread on those tires. I like Clevenger better.
So a guy that I like, that I wasn't liking that much here, you put me on him, and I think he's falling in drafts too much. You're going to love this pick, I think. I'm going to draft him, and then you say how you feel about him.
Keston Hiura?
Yep.
So it goes back into the whole idea of the sophomore slump, right? Like, I feel people think he's going to regress. The problem is this guy is just a good hitter. He's got a great swing, great approach at the plate. He gives you second base eligibility. He's playing really well to start the spring already. I like Keston Hiura a lot. I just think people are having trouble buying in, and we've seen enough of that in baseball. I get it. He just happens to come from my team as a Brewers fan, and I'm watching it. I know he's really good.
I think he could be a guy that's really good, like top 3 at second base this year.
I mean, he could lead second base this year, and it wouldn't surprise me in the slightest.
Now, I've thought about VR here, and part of me likes VR a lot and his upside, but I could also see VR flaming out in Miami because they suck. Couldn't you?
Yep.
So I think Hiura's safer.
I'm going to argue that. Ooh, I know who I'm picking right here. Too many outfielders available to me right now. Ooh-wee. Just I know where I want to go. And since it's a mock draft and you're not picking, I'm going to grab me some Mondesi into my life right now.
Love that.
We loved him last year. He was good while he played, but he lost a lot of time to injury. Huge upside, lots of speed. He's got pop.
Definitely a guy that, well, he's valuable in all formats, but in rotisserie leagues even more so because of his steals.
Give me Mondesi. And also, I'm going to bet on Philly having a better year, and I'm going to look for Hoskins to bounce back. We loved him last year, and quite frankly, he was a bit of a disappointment.
I like it.
Yeah, I was looking at VR too, but I completely forgot about the switch down to Miami until you brought that up, and that's just a black hole. Although he should get a bunch of triples this year.
It could work. I could see it working out a couple of different ways. Like he could be off the team and they're so bad, or they've got a couple older guys there now. Like maybe they play well to start the year. I could see that too. I mean, they were they were better than Detroit last year, in my opinion. Like they had some decent pitchers.
Yeah.
I don't think that it would be crazy to think that they're hovering around 500 for the first 2 months of the year.
Okay.
At their best. And if that's the case, then some of their guys are playing well and VR is probably their best player.
Yeah, I guess I don't think that's insane. I just my confidence in the Marlins right now is very low.
Let's look up their what's their rotation look like? And lineup. You want to pull that up? I mean, it's not going to be good.
Do this instead.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
I think Josh Beckett's going to be their one.
I still don't understand why they traded Zach Gallen. And Judge has fallen.
Yes, he has. So pitching, Caleb Smith, Pablo Lopez, Yamamoto, Urena, and Sandy Alcantara.
I mean,
Alfaro, Aguilar, Brian Anderson, Rojas, Corey Dickerson, VR, Brinson.
like their lineup's not awful. Their rotation's bad.
Another point for VR, though, if he's playing in the outfield, this guy is on ESPN leagues like this is going to have second base, shortstop, and outfield eligibility.
That's massive.
Yeah, because your team never ends up in how you draft it.
Exactly.
I don't like this place for Aguilar, though. I think Aguilar could have a bounce back year. I just don't like him playing in that massive ballpark because he gets all of his upside from his power. It doesn't matter how big you are. Like that ballpark is just gigantic. Only Stanton makes it look small.
This is true.
Do you think Lewis Brinson is just done and it's never going to amount to anything, or do you think he still has an opportunity to be a good player?
He's so young. Like, I don't see why he couldn't have an opportunity to be a good player. He probably needs some change of scenery, though, because the Yelich trade is, you talked about, like, the mental fortitude of some guys. Like, that can be hard to live down,
Mm-hmm.
So, and I have no outfielders, and outfield has gotten kind of weak. So I'm jealous of you right now.
You got Jimenez, Pham, Rosario right there, Castellanos. I wish I could draft outfielders right now, although it does get weak as hell after that. So I think you should pounce right now.
I will pounce right now, and it sucks Judge isn't available. I am going to take Pham. I'm a huge Pham fan. Let's do it.
Yeah, you are. And George Solaire's right there.
I wonder, what do you think about him this year?
Oh, man. I mean, it was last year. We know the pop is real.
For sure.
How old is he? 27? 27. Okay. It's like, it's so hard to look at this and just be like, it's got to be an aberration. But the guy's had so many injuries and just lack of quality playing time. And this was kind of expected from him years ago. It's just trouble to believe he can do this again, though.
I agree.
Played 162 games last year, too.
I mean, who knows? But I will say I like Jimenez a lot. The White Sox are coming.
The other guy on this page right here that, I mean, Suarez is just consistently just underappreciated.
I would 100% take Suarez if I didn't have Ramirez already. I'm thinking about him still, but I need an outfielder.
Right? Like Suarez is a guy that's, one of the reasons it might have made sense for me to skip Rendon is that Suarez is just so valuable. And that Cincy offense, I mean, in that ballpark, they're going to bang this year.
Yeah, they're gonna be good. It's interesting that VR's still on the board here, so I definitely took Jimenez or Kira too early. That's okay. You live and you learn, right? The other thing I like, so I feel safer with Suarez than Vlad, but I think Vlad has higher upside. What do you think? I think he's just a better overall hitter.
Yeah. Who knows if it's ever or when it comes to fruition, but we know the upside there is for real.
Exactly. I don't love my outfielders with Pham and Jimenez, but I'm afraid to know what it would look like if I didn't take those guys. So I'm fine with it.
I mean, the more I look at this Reds team, like, I think they're flying under the radar still right now. I mean, Joey Votto isn't very good anymore, but Moustakas, Suarez, Freddie Galvis, Castellanos, they're going to put up some runs.
They do have like a week. It's funny how you mentioned Freddie Galvis. I think they have like a hole at shortstop.
I don't mind. Like, Galvis is another guy who's underrated in a lot of aspects. Like, I remember when I told you last year that the list of guys who had this kind of number of hit total, And it was like
Oh
Freddie
yeah,
Galvis with like all these other like really, really good players.
yeah. I do think that they're falling a little bit under the radar. They've got a really good rotation too.
Yeah, their rotation is like good. I mean, Castillo, Gray, Trevor Bauer, Wade Miley, Descafani.
Yeah, and
Amir Garrett coming out of the bullpen is nasty. Iglesias, Lorenzen.
oh, and the other three guys that you didn't even mention because they have a bunch from like this guy, Shogo Akiyama, who they got from Japan, is supposed to be good. Senzel is like one of the top prospects in all baseball, and then your boy Aquino.
Mm-hmm. They got an abundance of riches here.
They do.
And even like Tucker Barnhart's not a bad catcher.
No,
It's, man, if they could just get a better first baseman.
Hmm.
Votto should be batting leadoff and just taking his walk every at bat and just getting driven in.
I actually think that the Reds and Indians like match up well for a Lindor trade if the Indians were to move him for
Yeah, I
like
can see that.
Senzel and like whatever. And then the Reds would be real dangerous.
Well, I'm coming up here. I already have a third baseman, but I'll take Suarez right now for my utility spot or my first and third. It also gives me potential trade bait if I ever do that.
You probably won't since this league will evaporate, but I'm with you.
Hypothetically, well, you are 1,000% correct, but hypothetically, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, I will finally jump on the VR thing right here and slide him into second base. And then Suarez. I mean, you guys, we talked about this last year, and all he did was go out and have an even better year. Like, why is nobody giving this guy credit for being able to mash?
I'm not sure.
Look at this 13, 21, 26, 34, 49 home runs. Look at the upward progression. Imagine how much better this team is going to be this year. Is he ever going to bat 300? Well, maybe not, but this ballpark is made for homers. Like, I expect him to hit 40 plus again this year.
Yeah, I mean it's great value here.
At the end of
Which,
the year,
which I actually am surprised he took the R. As Moustakis is still here.
yeah. Yeah, Moustakis has been a Brewer for the last year and a half. This guy can hit, and he hits, in big situations. I think you got yourself a steal right there. I wish he was still a Brewer.
Why is he's so underrated, I feel like.
I don't understand it either.
He's good. He's won a title. I mean, I think he's good.
Is he going to get better? Probably not. He's at that age where he's probably plateaued, being a 30 years old,
What?
but he had 35 bombs last year.
This is a guy I feel like he's definitely value here in the draft too, because we do, we talk DFS daily, obviously, because it's daily. This is a guy that when he's going well, he's like, upper fours, 5K ish,
Mm-hmm.
Stanton went.
I know you like the young players. What are your thoughts on Bo Bichette?
I like him a lot too, man. I think he's also not a guy I really expect a sophomore slump because he's just a good hitter,
Talk about a team that just went after all the pedigree stuff, right? Man, I didn't realize how much the Blue Jays retooled their pitching staff with Ryu, Rourke, Chase Anderson, Shoemaker. The Blue Jays might quietly be better than people realize this year, especially if Travis Shaw can have a bounce back year.
Yes, but I still don't think that pitching staff is good. Do you?
No, not good. But do we see the Ryu who is dominant early? Tanner Rourke is consistently underappreciated.
I agree.
Not,
The problem with Ryu for me is like all of a sudden going from the NL West, pitching in San Fran and San Diego to the AL East is tough for him. But I'll say this about him: like they're gonna be more competitive because of him. No doubt about that. He's a number one that they haven't had.
their offense could be exciting. If Travis Shaw bounces back to like what he did as a Brewer, I mean, to go with all these, young guns of Biggio, Bichette, and, Guerrero, if those guys kind of hit their stride this year, this could be a really exciting team to watch.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so you're up right now.
I am up right now. And check one thing here before know what? I'm just going to get my closer right now because I think Hand is by far the best available. I want one. Closers are worth more in points leagues.
Here's a guy for you. I can't do it because I have 2 third basemen already, but Josh Donaldson is another guy I love this round.
Yeah, I think he's fallen way under the radar. It's a real good call for the Twins. They all of a sudden have a real good lineup too, man.
Yeah, so he started off slow last year. I think it took him a while to get kind of the power stroke going down in Atlanta. But by the end of the year, he hit 37 home runs last year. And the batting average wasn't pretty, 259. But he had an on-base percentage of 379. I play in on-base percentage leagues. 37 bombs. Now he's in, a good offense with Rosario and, Nelson Cruz, etc. So I love that. I think that's great value this far down the draft. Third base is relatively strong this year.
I agree. I struggle between okay, so a couple guys right here that I also think are right in his range. Muncy, who's got 3 position eligibility.
Oh yeah.
Moustakas, who we've talked about.
Sure.
I think Moncada is a look here also. I think his upside is big time.
I think what I'm getting out of this right here, and correct, maybe you'll agree with me, I like Rendon, but in hindsight, you should remember third base is a position to wait on when you can get Donaldson and Moncada and Moustakas and those guys down here. Really good value.
I feel the same way about Jose Ramirez. 100% agreed there.
Yeah, you like Ramirez, but now you're seeing Donaldson down here 8 rounds later, and you wish you had an outfielder in that spot.
Yeah, because I don't think Ramirez is that much better than you know what? I'm just going to do it. I like Moncada a lot this year. I think it's a breakout. I mean, he showed a lot of signs last year. I love him this year. And yeah, I think he could easily have a better year than Jose Ramirez.
So those are the kind of plays that I like in fantasy baseball. You're a bigger Moncada fan than I am, which is fine. We're going to have our personal opinions on players. But I like upside guys in baseball because your roster in fantasy baseball changes so much throughout the year. I love taking shots with guys like Moncada who could, at the end of the year, if he's a top 2 round producer, you're not surprised by it.
Exactly. Good call.
When I draft a guy down here, would be a good example. Adam Eaton. I know who the hell Adam Eaton is at this point. I like him. He's a solid player.
Yes.
But there is literally 0% chance that at the end of the season, he's going to be a guy that performed as a top 2 round type of talent. Zero.
Agreed.
Did I say 0? I meant 0.
You said 0, and I'm pretty sure people heard you. You have no pitchers.
Yeah, I wait on pitching. Now is when I start to look. What are your thoughts on Ohtani this year? It's kind of sneaky with the dual position.
Yeah, I don't know when he's going to start pitching, but I think he's a really good hitter. And he's another guy. This is a guy that he's just I would have taken him already, and he just went had he not only been DH eligible.
All right, so you mentioned I have no pitchers. I feel very good about my infield. I don't mind waiting on catcher. Outfield I can get. So now's the position for me that if positions are starting to be available that I like. I'm a Brandon Woodruff guy. As a Brewer fan, I'm a big believer in him. It's a good opportunity for me to take him right here. And then let me ask you this. What's up with Carrasco?
I don't think we're ever going to see a Carrasco of old. He's dealing with elbow inflammation. But I don't know if it's anything serious or his talent level, he's worth the pick here, but it's tough to trust.
Okay. I don't like Kluber as much down in Texas. Although, you know what? Every other year, Corey Kluber.
I can dig that.
I know damn well that pitching in Texas, and Kluber's big issue has been the home run ball, that this could be a bad pick. But I also know that this guy has 2 Cy Youngs for a reason. And last year was an off year, but he was third. He was third in Cy Young voting the year before that. I think it's a good opportunity for a bounce back year. Maybe very motivated like he hasn't been. Lost so much time due to injury last year.
Yeah, pitcher is weak after this too. I think it was a good move to get 2 right there. There's obviously guys with upside, but all these guys have big question marks.
What's funny is that Brandon Woodruff is my trustworthy guy, and Corey Kluber is my shot in the dark guy.
Mm-hmm.
But again, prior to last year, and he is older. He is 33 coming off an injury, so this is not safe. He just moved to the second most hitter friendly park in baseball. So there's things not to like about him right here. But I know for you, you like talent over some of the peripheral things on the outside.
For sure. I like the Kluber pick. And also, like, when we do this, it's not for the draft itself, it's to learn from it. And I'm really liking the Clevenger pick. I think that he has a chance to be like a top 5 pitcher this year. And
yeah, for sure.
I like him more than Blake Snell. And I took Blake Snell before him. So I want him probably to be my ace in drafts, because I can get him in like probably the third, fourth round. Not ace price, but I think he can be the ace. So maybe that's too high that you want to spend for pitcher, but you get why I would go there.
No, I can get on board with a guy like that who's a first-round talent that you get in the 5th round. What I don't like is spending my first rounder on a Max Scherzer.
For sure.
Or DeGrom, or whoever the pitcher might be, because the hitters in baseball fall off so quickly.
So the other thing about a points league, which is different, it's just pitcher positions and it's points. So starting a couple closers is sometimes, a viable strategy. Closers are worth more in points leagues.
Side note, did you hear what was up with Trey Mancini?
I did. I was going to ask you about that. I did, but then I didn't because no one knows. I mean.
Okay. I didn't know if you'd seen any updates on him or anything like that. Sounds like it was a serious personal issue, huh?
It sounds bizarre. Someone I said speculated it could be like Corona because I don't know. It sounds bizarre. I don't want to speculate. I have no idea.
Okay. Yeah, they said it sounded like we're going to respect his privacy right now, so I have no idea.
Mm-hmm. But the way the players were like, we feel so bad for him. It was just weird.
Yeah, maybe he lost a kid or something.
Maybe. I have no idea.
Again, we don't know, man. I know you're not listening, but honestly, best of luck.
So I don't like this guy as much as you do, but I'm taking him here because I think he's fallen too far. He doesn't have the name value of a lot of guys. Give me some Ramon Laureano.
Yeah, man. Stat sheet stuffer.
Yeah. He's good.
Mm-hmm. And the A's are another one of those teams. They're just not as talented as some other teams that are up there. But, man, they find a way to play hard every year. You got to respect the cut of the whole franchise.
For sure. No doubt about that. All right, I like the pace of this draft now.
You know that we got everybody on auto draft?
Yeah.
You know what? I'm going to grab Max Kepler right here and then go for a pitcher as well.
I get that.
Kepler had a nice year last year. And this is another team. This Minnesota offense can mash.
Mm-hmm.
And another team where their pitching isn't really probably good enough for them not to have to mash. Kepler had 36 home runs last year. Another guy, 17, 19, 20, 36, quietly coming into his own. Max Kepler. And then I need me a pitcher as well. What do you think about Craig Kimbrell this year? You think he bounces back?
Yeah, I mean, a good team. I'll take a closer like that on a good team. I'm fine with it.
Yeah, all right, I'm going to take Craig Kimbrell right here and take a shot that the game's best closer from a couple years ago regains some version of this form because he was not good for Chicago last year, but we see that a lot when guys come into the camp so late.
I fudged up and haven't taken a first baseman yet, and the options are weak. Now,
yeah.
But to your point, though, there's 10 guys down here who 8 of them won't be good, but 2 of them could be in the top 10 of first baseman. Now, whether you're talking about Vogelbach or whoever, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
These guys suck. I almost don't even want to take one here and just keep waiting.
I don't think that's a bad move at all. When I don't like any of them, and I just assume, what's the difference between getting Daniel Murphy and CJ Cron?
Exactly. I am definitely going to wait here and not take any of them. Outfield's gotten weak as well. Man, everything's gotten weak.
So I think that's a good talking point for right now.
Go ahead.
I was saying, because if you look at catcher, I like Contreras and Garver, but I think it slides off way after that.
I agree, and I'm going to go back to our old pal Contreras.
All right, so right now for me, knowing that I'm about 10 picks out still, I'm hoping Garver's still available. So because I think he's got the ability to be heads and shoulders better than the other catchers out there, I want to get him on my squad. Now, if I don't get him, now I will just wait on catcher because to me, everybody after that's birds of a feather.
Agreed.
So I think when you're doing year-long fantasy drafts, that's a underrated thing to take a look at because it was the same thing you went through at first base. When your second pick and your ninth pick are the same, then just wait.
Yeah, definitely just wait. All right, it's me again.
Now, if this was drafters, you would just take Garber just to mess with me.
Yeah, probably. I won't do that here though. Well, now that you put it in my head, no, I wouldn't do that. Man, you know what? We talked about him. I don't like love him this year, but I think he's by far the best in breed. So give me Ryu.
Yep. Rio was really good to start last year, and you just want to wonder how much of that can he give out.
Yeah, I mean, I think people might be undervaluing him at this point.
I forget how old he is. Look that up. 31, just my guess. 32. I mean, again, he led the NL in ERA last year and was really good. I mean, he had an ERA under 2 in the year before that. So this guy can pitch. And other than this little, what was it, one game? I mean, this guy's a good pitcher. Second in the Cy Young last year.
Yeah, I think I got a value there. I'm more than happy taking him.
All right, so I got Garver right there. He did fall to me. And now I know I'm done there. And I want to go over and take a look at pitchers. Oof. Yeah, it's ugly.
It is.
So I'm debating between two Arizona guys right here, Zach Gallen and Robbie Ray. What would you do?
I feel safer with Gallen. I think Ray has more upside, but I'm also not going to be surprised if like Ray struggles again this year. He's lost some luster as far as I'm concerned. What about you?
No disagree. What's up with Chris Sale this year too?
Another one, injuries. I mean, his elbow again or whatever. I'm not trusting him.
Well, then I'll do this, and I'll slide in there with a boy that we both love, and German Marquez.
Yep. You know I love that. You know I love him.
Oh, yeah. He was a 5-pack darling for a couple of hot minutes right there. And he had some rougher points last year. He had a few really good starts to remind us of the talent that's out there. Another guy that's just right there I like a lot too is Dinelson Lamet.
Yeah, I like him too. I like his upside at least.
Yep. And that's what I'm doing with pitching. So for me, I run a pretty basic fantasy baseball strategy. Load up on offense early on. If you get a really good pitching value like Clevenger, like we discussed, grab him. But then at the end of the draft is where I'm pitching. And I'm grabbing high upside guys like Lamet, Marquez, Kluber, and just hoping I can get 2 or 3 of these guys to stick.
Speaking of high upside guys, taking Byron Buxton here.
Yeah.
Because if he, is healthy and plays.
And honestly, then when you're drafting outfielders right now, like what's the difference between some of these guys and the guys you're getting in 10 rounds? Nothing, but Buxton is a guy who was going in like second rounds a couple of years ago.
Yeah, exactly. Precisely. So we see that.
And if he sucks, you cut him and you get another guy off the waiver wire who's the same as a guy you were going to draft outside of him.
Yeah, exactly. 100% agreed.
So having done literally 150 year-long baseball drafts that have counted in my life and more if you count mock drafts, the strategy that goes behind things and having a way that you do it is it's just as important as the guys yourself, because sometimes you're going to pick a guy who's in a good spot and he's just going to suck. You can't control somebody having a bad season. Lance Lynn was good last year, but are we surprised if he goes back to getting mashed by lefties and has a terrible year in Texas? No, we're not, but you want to get some of that upside. A guy like a Kyle Hendricks lacks upside because of his inability to strike guys out.
Amen.
He won't win you championships, but Dinelson Lamet might.
So I'm up next, and I'm going to take Chris Davis here because I think he's just the best outfielder left.
With a K.
With a K, yes. Although Chris Davis with a C has had a really good spring.
Yep.
So, and that's baseball for you. Guys can come back. Let's see.
God, also, the flip side of that, don't read too much into spring.
True. 100% agreed with that. God, this guy Caswell is hurting us over here.
Yeah, come on, man. Just get on auto pick like everybody else. So let's talk about Zach Gallen for a minute. You like him?
I do like him. You said you do?
No, I said you do.
I like him a lot.
I remember you talked about it a lot last year. So, again, 23 years old, had some really nice moments last year with Arizona. Hasn't pitched a ton of innings yet at the major league level, 181 in total, but he's got an ERA of 2.81 in that time period.
I don't get why Miami traded him last year. It just doesn't make sense to me. He's good.
He's also got 218 strikeouts in 181 innings. He's a better than K per inning pitcher. That's another guy. This is a great target point down here in the round 17 because he could easily end the year as a top 20 starting pitcher.
Yeah, I like him quite a bit. It's a great call right there.
So I will definitely draft him coming up next.
Love it.
I'm going to go with him and Lamet. Again, none of these guys are as safe as picking a Clevenger or Max Scherzer, but I'm getting all of them later in the draft, and there's safety in numbers. If I draft 7 or 8 guys like this, if I can get 3 or 4 of them to work for me, and then pick up some streamers and pick up some guys who have good seasons along the rest of the way, for a roto league like I play with 200 starts, that's going to get me there.
100% agreed. Oh,
that's the difference.
Right. Lamet just went, though.
Oh, that son of a gun. What are your thoughts on, let's talk about a couple of these guys real quick before I decide who I want to take. Mike Minor.
I mean, I wasn't really thinking about him. I think my thoughts are that he'll probably regress a little bit, but right here, I think he's definitely worth a shot.
Matthew Boyd.
Same.
Okay. I'm going to grab Urias and just see what they want to do with him this year because he's extremely talented, but he's another guy, like, I'm not surprised if he's not pitching full games.
Yeah, agreed with that. What's your take on Folty this year?
Oh, I love that pick down there, actually, because this is the guy I was targeting last year. And this is the same problem that we just brought up. Mike Foltynewicz of the Atlanta Braves was 8th in the Cy Young voting and an all-star in 2018. He missed most of last year, and he started to look a little better as the season progressed. He just wasn't the same guy. That is not untypical of pitchers.
Agreed. You know who else I could see being – you're going to like this because this is another one where – you might not agree on the guy, but you're going to agree on the thought process. And I could see being a big sleeper down here.
Luke Weaver?
Ronaldo Lopez.
Mm-hmm.
When he's pitching well, he's good.
Well, that's the difference between a guy like him and Chase Anderson. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Or like Ian Kennedy. Like Ian Kennedy is 180 years old. There's no upside here. He's not all of a sudden going to be up there in the Cy Young talks. Luke Weaver, that's a guy we like. You just brought up, why am I already blanking on him again?
Ronaldo
Lopez. Yeah, if he's a young man who comes into his own this year and he ends the year as a top 20 starting pitcher for fantasy, you're not surprised by that. You don't expect it, but you're not surprised by it.
Exactly.
If Ian Kennedy finishes the season as even like a top 10 closer or something like that, like I'll get around and dance around naked. Torture you guys with it.
So hopefully he doesn't do that.
I like Caleb Smith down here as well.
Yeah, I don't mind that call. All right, just
Luke Casey.
Of picking someone. A guy I think is going to bounce back this year. Now we know who this guy is, but I think his upside is higher than what he's being drafted here. David Price.
Yeah, I thought about taking him as opposed to Urias right there.
Yeah, we saw how well Rio pitched last year. Not that they're the same pitcher, but a much better spot for Price in LA than in Boston.
Hunter Dozier's a guy I like as well, if you're still needing offensive guys down here. I think Avisel Garcia is intriguing because he's moving into a very hitter-friendly park in a decent lineup.
Yeah, I think he's firmly in play. And then 3 guys like below that, Mazara, Peralta, Dickerson. I'm fine with all 3 of those guys. Ooh, another sleeper. That was good last year. Domingo Santana for the Indians.
Sure.
Like outfield, and this is just baseball. Like, again, there's guys that we're not targeting drafting here, but we're not going to be surprised if these guys have an all-star type year. Justin Upton, Chew. Grichuk had a really good half of the year last year to finish the year. Your boy Aquino, your other boy Hunter Dozier. Not all those guys are going to be good.
Didi.
Didi. That's the fun part about baseball, I think, and that's why I love DFS in baseball.
It's also why you can't leave your drafts early, because anybody can sit here and auto click on Mookie Betts and
right.
Guys like that. It's making these picks at the end of the draft that can win you championships. Like taking a guy like Didi Gregorius over like Joey Votto, who has done nothing but regress for the past 5 seasons.
Exactly. I like Mazzara a lot this year. I'm taking him. I guess I do like your Avisail Garcia. I'm a huge Avi fan, but he's just not an everyday starter probably because they got a bunch of guys there.
Good point.
That's the only thing I don't like about him, though.
Yeah, there are intriguing guys on the Brewers this year. Looking at them, like Arcia is having a great spring right now, and I firmly believe he'll be playing every day. Sogard, I have to imagine, just won't be out there.
What about their Urias?
What's that? No, I feel like you're going to see. I don't think Sogard's going to be playing every day. I think somebody's going to have to move over to third base.
What about the guy they got from San Diego?
Urias?
Yeah.
Yeah, somebody else between Arcia and Urias. I don't think Sogard's an everyday third baseman.
No.
Could be Ryan Healy who's had moments.
Oh, yeah, they got a bunch of guys like that. Ryan Healy, they got though they have Logan Morrison and Justin.
Tearing it up so far this year in spring training.
It's funny they have Healy, Morrison, and Smoke. One of those guys, they're doing what we're talking about in the drafts. Two of those guys are going to be, and two of those guys aren't going to work out. But if one of those guys has an all-star first half, no one's going to be surprised.
Exactly.
Travis Shaw is much in the same mold. They just already had been there and done that.
Yeah. I do like the Rangers pitching staff compared to normal, though. Lance Lynn, Mike Minor, Corey Kluber, Kyle Gibson, Jordan Lyles. Although Lyles is only good for the Brewers.
They have a good top 4. Gibson as a 4 is good.
Oh, man, I just auto-drafted because I wasn't paying attention. I got Kingery. Oh, no. How am I ever going to get through this?
Sucks.
All right, I'm going to grab I already went twice. I got Cronin Kingery. So busy looking at other things, forgot I was on the clock. Well, there goes the season.
Maybe should we just sign off at that point?
Okay, we might as well talk through a couple more of these guys, just late round guys you might be looking at.
All right.
Looking at this right here, if given the choice between Miguel Andujar and Matt Carpenter, give me Miguel Andujar. Better offense, better ballpark, potentially could get better. We know who Matt Carpenter is. What are the odds that Matt Carpenter gets better this year?
Agreed. I was actually going to take Crone, so I'm going to take my first baseman here. I'm going to take Christian Walker. We like that offense. He should have a nice role.
And if you don't know how old guys are, just remember that baseball players decline. Matt Carpenter had an amazing run for part of 2018, but this guy has been pretty bad the last few years, other than that 1-2 month run, which was just the sickest thing I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
What an anomaly that was.
It happens in baseball. It's so weird.
This guy's been bad the last 3 years outside of those 2 months. Man, that's crazy. I know it happens, but man, it's just crazy to think about.
Kind of to your point, I'm going to take Paxton here. I'm not. Why the hell not, right?
Exactly. I don't even know how long he's going to be out for.
Not even that long, I don't think. I don't know. Easy pick for me here. I'm surprised he's still on the board.
Yeah, you got a lot of people auto drafting, so there's only 3 of us who could actually pick him.
True.
The same thing goes with Chew and Aquino right here. If I'm picking somebody, give me a guy who's got upside, because it's very well going to be cutting him and just picking somebody else down here in a week anyway.
True.
You talked about it with Ronaldo Lopez right there, Caleb Smith. Speak of the devil. Oh, who cares? Give me Fulte. Ronaldo Lopez.
Of it.
Yep. Upside picks who you know darn well they may not even be on your team in a few weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So I just want to reiterate that to people who haven't done a million fantasy baseball drafts. Brandon Woodruff, Corey Kluber, Marquez, Gallen, Urias, Fultonevich, and Lopez. None of these guys are safe, but if I get 10 of these guys, you're hoping that 5 work up.
Well, Woodruff's pretty safe.
I think so, but
He's not
again,
as safe as the Clevengers of the world, but he's certainly safer than the Ronaldo Lopez's of the world.
yeah, for sure.
But you're right. You don't have any sure things, because if Woodruff was like, struggled to start the year, we wouldn't be like shocked. I mean, I agree with you.
Yep.
All right, I'm just going to pick here because I don't want to take too long. So I'm going to take a guy you've talked about a lot, Caleb Smith.
Youth upside over a guy like Ryan Braun, who came out and said he may not even play next year. So it's like, what's Ryan Braun going to do? He hasn't gotten better in a long time.
Mm-hmm.
I think you can throw out guys like AJ Pollock. Like AJ Pollock, it's just not a thing anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah, all right, I'm just on that same mold. I'm going to take a guy right here. Michael Kopech. It was him and Moncada for Chris Sale, one of the best pitching prospects in baseball. Had Tommy John surgery in 2018, missed all of last year. He's making his first start today, and is supposed to make 3 spring starts. Yes, thank you. And then be part of the White Sox rotation. So talk about upside. I mean,
yeah. Who do you want, him or Marcus Stroman or Jake Odorizzi, who you know exactly who they are?
Right? Like Kopech, 70% chance I cut him in the next, in the first 6 weeks of the season. But what if he comes up and he's like, we've seen this before, so
yeah, now I want to start grabbing some guys who could potentially be closers as well.
For sure.
You don't know that they are, but take a couple chances on guys like this. If you get one right, you got another closer.
That's the other thing that's different about baseball. Young players are so hard to project because there is nothing like Major League Baseball that, there are no guys in the minor leagues or anywhere throwing as hard and as well as the guys in the major leagues. Otherwise, they'd be in the major leagues,
Mm-hmm. And some guys, they get up here and they get fat and happy. Other guys, they excel.
Maybe some guys, they're just not quite good enough. Some guys are good enough, but like you talk about, they don't have the mental fortitude to play in front of thousands of people every day, to be in the media all the time. It's a different
play
game.
150 games.
Exactly. It's a different game. And that's why you wonder how people can be so good in the minor leagues and then struggle in the major leagues, but it happens a lot.
Yeah, the length of the seasons and what it drains you mentally is one thing. So, like I told you yesterday, I've been working really hard on trying to get into better shape. And I went for a 10-mile jog yesterday. Like right now, my knees and my legs don't feel good enough to go running. But even if they did, I don't have the mental fortitude today to push myself to run that far. Like it took everything I had yesterday to do that. These guys are now being asked to come in and play these really, really, really long seasons. When yes, there's the physical thing. But the mental aspect of being locked in for 200 straight days is really difficult.
Mm-hmm.
All right, guys, if you haven't done it yet, we appreciate all thumbs up on the video. Subscribe to the station if you haven't done it already. We talk a lot of daily fantasy sports over here. We'll probably get in a couple more of these mock baseball drafts as we continue our research throughout the offseason. We are only a couple weeks away from the kickoff, though, or from opening day.
Yeah, only 17 days.
Can't come fast enough for one guy I know.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Shocking.
Right now, I really have to pee, though, so I hope this draft ends quickly.
It should. Oh, I don't even know who I like down here. Give me Alex Wood and Garrett Richards, because I don't care, because it doesn't matter. All right. We can just hang it up, too.
Well, I'd like to make my last pick.
Okay. Let's try. I got to pee so bad.
I mean, now that we're doing this, I got to make my last pick, though, right?
If you want to, who you going with?
I'm gonna go with David. Yeah, I'm gonna go with David Peralta.
Got it. All right, guys. Thank you very much for watching.
Yeah, thanks, guys.